Show participant.
I dah start record dah.
Dah start record. Lepas tu, berapa total yang datang?
Kat sini ada 99 orang.
29. Tanpa budak mana orang tu kan? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Hopefully you are in the right class. This class is for project management. So not in the right class, I would suggest you to leave the meeting. How many of you are in your first year? I think there's one student that is from the first year. That Shalini, yeah? Anyone else? How about third year? Anyone from the third year? So I can safely say that most of you, majority of you, 99.9% of you are from second year. So second year, second semester, right? Okay. Have you got the PowerPoint notes? You can go to Author and download it now. If you don't have it yet, go to Author, download it now, then you can refer that. Okay, so in Author, I have already uploaded 4 topics for week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, and then the rest in progress. I have already also uploaded your individual assignment and also your group assignment. Let me just talk to you about this course in general. Oh God. Let me share first. What can you see? Can you see the RPP?
Yes, Doctor.
You can see that, yeah. All right, so let's talk about the topics that are going to be covered in this course. We have 14 weeks, but then we have 12 topics. Huh? So each topic is inshallah per week, but there are some calculations and whatnot. So some of the calculation might need an additional week. All right. if you look at the trend of final exam, most of the final exam question past year questions are all calculations. But worry not, I will try this semester, I will try to mix between calculation as well as so you must always have your calculator with you, especially when we go up to even the second chapter. So you must always have your calculator. You have to, because we are doing this online, and this is my first time I'm teaching project management online. So it's going to be quite challenging in terms of, so you have to be very attentive towards the things that I said. And this time around, what I did was I incorporated most of the notes and also the examples in the PowerPoint. So with the PowerPoint notes itself would be enough for you to, if you are unable to understand the lecture or the calculations and whatnot, so you can always refer to the note, and I will give you some example as well as some exercises for you to do at home, so to ensure that you know exactly how to calculate things and whatnot. All right, so that's that. So be ready lah. Your mind have got to be ready for some calculations. It's very direct calculation and not too bad. It's not additional mathematics, just basic mathematics with just some, you need some creativity, and you need some ability to make certain decisions on how to approach certain calculations. Because it's not just a straightforward calculation, you have to decide on how or what kind of method that you want to use. So just bear in mind, if you think that you are very weak in mathematics, I suggest that you be very attentive, and you can always ask me during class, or you can. I suggest you to have a study group lah, especially for the calculations topics. All right. Now for this course, the assessment would be you will have one midterm test. I've already set the date, so I would prefer you to just block that date. Let me just go and confirm with you the dates. But before that, when are you coming back? When are you supposed to come back? Week number, what is the actual date of the week that you're supposed to?
Mid-sem break, Doctor.
When is that? What is the date?
Week 6 or week 7. I'm not quite sure, but what I know is after semester break, mid-sem break.
Can anyone refer to the calendar and see? This is the first week, isn't it?
14, Doctor. 14 May.
14 May, yeah? Okay. 14 May, you'll be back here.
Yes.
Okay. So, just nice. The midterm will be on the 15th of May for section 1, and for section 2 is going to be on the 16th of May. Okay. So block your calendars. It's going to be physical, face-to-face assessment. So the moment you come back, straight away we'll do our midterm exam. Midterm exam will be 100 question, multiple choice. You would need to read the PowerPoint notes and whatnot. Everything is based on the PowerPoint notes. Okay, so 100 multiple choice questions. All right. On the 15th for section 2, section 2, right? 15. That is on a Monday. And for section 1, it's going to be on the 16th, which is on the 17th, which is Wednesday morning, 8 to 11. It's going to be just 2 hours for that 100 questions. It's just straightforward, just to test your knowledge on what you have understand so far on the terms, the process, the flow, those kind of things. It's very straightforward. It's not that hard. So I suggest you to be prepared. So after every other topic that have been covered by me, you have to go through it. As far as the topic is concerned, it's going to be topic 1 until topic 4. So midterm question will be topic 1 until topic 4. Okay, so that's your midterm question. Have you jotted down the dates? Got it, eh? You got the dates, huh? It's on the week that you come back. When you come back, that's the week when we do our midterm.
Doctor,
Yes.
for section 1 is 15 May or 16 May?
On that Wednesday, 16, I think. Wednesday is 16, 17, right? Wednesday is 17.
So for Wednesday is section 2 or 1?
Same as your class lah, during class time.
Or during class, alright.
So if your class is on Monday, then your midterm is on Monday lah. If your class is on Wednesday, then your midterm is on Wednesday lah. Same time, same date, same day. Got it? Okay. Shall we go on? Next is, let's look at your, now, are you still looking at the RPP?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Now,
Yes, doctor.
second one is the individual assignment, which I've already uploaded in your author as well. So individual assignment, that midterm is 10%, your individual assignment will be 10% as well. The date of submission, let me just check. Date of submission for your individual. For individual assignment. Actually, tak buat lagi. So for the one that are going to, then the week after that, the week after your midterm is for your individual assignment, which is going to be on the 22nd and 24th of May. Okay, that's your due date for your individual assignment on the 22nd and 24th, Monday and Wednesday. Latest by Thursday, 25th. That particular week after your midterm exam. Got it? For group project, for your group project, it's going to be a week after that, which is on the 29th and 31st. Okay, so these 3 weeks straight on, your midterm on the 15th and the 17th, and then your individual assignment is on the 22nd or 24th, latest by 25th, and for your group assignment is on the 29th, latest by the 1st of June. Okay, got it? Next, for that report, you have to present. That present will carry 20% of your total marks. That presentation you submit 1 week before you present. So we have yet to decide on the presentation date. It depends on how our progress in terms of how well we cover the topics and whatnot. So it should be at the end of the semester. Okay. So the group presentation, you submit the PowerPoint or whatever platform that you're going to use for your presentation. That will be determined later. Okay. Also, whether a student will ask me whether everybody have got to present or whatnot. It's up to you lah. It's up to you. It's how you organize your nama pun project management kan. It's how you organize lah. A project and whatnot and see how you present. Okay, so those are the components of your continuous assessment. Of course, the final exam will be Another 40%. Any questions so far?
Doctor, is it the individual assignment guideline have been uploaded to Outer or not
Yeah,
yet?
it's there. It's basically the topic and also how you're going to go about it. I'm not going to say it's a very detailed guideline, but in terms of format and whatnot, as long as it is something that is acceptable, it's okay. I have no preferences in terms of your fonts and your what do you call it, your paragraph, and then the way you I will just focus on the content.
All right, doctor. But my individual activities still don't have any file. Don't know, no record.
I have not opened yet.
All
It's
right.
there.
Thank you, doctor.
I will open it later. Okay, I will activate it later. Okay, any other question? No, so how do I stop sharing? Okay, now what do you see now?
See a lot, my friend.
See what? What do you see?
See a lot of name, not showing screen.
Okay. You're not looking at the PowerPoint, eh? What about now?
Nampak tak?
You're looking at the PowerPoint, eh?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, good. Now, if there is no other question, you're going to introduce yourself, not now, later when you come back, yeah? Because there's no point of introducing yourself during this virtual session, because I will not be able to remember you, or having a meaningful conversation with you. So when you come back later, we will do the introduction part. Right? Now let's go to slide number 2. Slide number 2. This one done. Do you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Oh, you see my screen? Okay. How do I not let you see my screen? Eh?
No, sir, just the slide on.
Slide anywhere. This one. Share con. Okay. Share content. Let's see. Now what do you see? See my screen still?
Yes, doctor.
How do I not let you see my screen? I want you just to see the PowerPoint.
Just now, I just see a PowerPoint only.
When?
Just now, before you share.
Okay. Now, you see my screen still? Or just a PowerPoint?
Just PowerPoint, doctor.
Okay. Give me 2 minutes. Sophia, you download PowerPoint ni tak?
Dah.
Boleh tak you share dalam group?
Okay.
Tak share dalam group, share dengan saya je.
Dah, doktor.
Okay. Okay, for the first topic, we are going to talk about generally what is project and what is project management, who are project, why they are important, significant of project management, just to give you an overview of what is project management. So the name itself, project management, so you have to look at it from the point of view of a project. How are you going to go about in terms of ensuring? There are two major things when it comes to project management. We do this because we want to ensure that we achieve effectiveness and efficiency. So no matter how you go about with the argument, how you discuss, how you assess, every other terms or question and whatnot, your philosophy would be to look at it from the point of view of effectiveness and efficiency. Okay, got it? So that's the philosophy behind project management, why we do this and why we learn this, why we execute certain things and whatnot. The thing that we want to achieve is to ensure that it is effective and it's efficient, right? So these are the two philosophy behind project management. So let's look at the first course learning outcome. Explain the key project management concept that can be used to efficiently conduct organizational activities. So what is a project? Project is something that is, you call it a project because it is not permanent, it's temporary. You start somewhere, you stop somewhere. So that is a project. Yeah? So there is something called a time frame. And also there is something called limited resources. There is also something like scope, right? And a project is something that you want to accomplish. You want to start and you want to accomplish. You want to deliver. To whom you deliver depends on what type of project. So sometimes you deliver the project to your clients. Or even yourself. You have a project, for example, your individual assignment, your what do we call your group assignment. These are all projects. So we are going to learn how we are going to look at it from a scientific point of view and how we are going to be able to put everything into perspective and again to achieve effectiveness and efficiency. Yeah. Right. Second, third. Okay. Now the phases of a project. So many books have different. Some said 5, some said 4, and whatnot. So these are the phases that I'm suggesting to you is a general phase. General phase that consists of, first one we call it initiation. The initiation phase is a phase when you first know that there is a need for a project. Okay. And in initiation stage as well, you discuss about or you have to define the objective, right? The scope, and also whether that project is feasible. Feasible means that whether the project is achievable. And for example, if let's say Malaysia would like to host World Cup, you know World Cup? For the guys, you know lah, football World Cup.
No, no, doctor, no.
You don't know World Cup?
Oh, of course I know, doctor.
So World Cup. Let's say Malaysia wants to hold or wants to be the host for the next World Cup. Now, that is a project because it's temporary, right? And you have different objective, depends. If you are a political figure, there's a different objective for you. And if you are a sports event manager, there's a different objective for it. But the thing with the project, it has got to be it has got to be feasible. Feasible means something that is naturally achievable. So since you cannot just out of the blue say, I want to take up this project, you have to look at your capacity as well. So feasibility is linked with capacity. So in terms of capacity, we know that we don't have the capacity. Capacity here doesn't mean only the stadiums, only the facilities. It also meant that we don't have enough network in terms of the people representative in the world governing body of football to be able to achieve that. And maybe we don't have enough money to go about and organize such a big event. So feasibility is also very important. So everything is a project, and a project should be, if you want to take up a project should be feasible. So that's something that you have to think about. Well, the second stage or second phase is called the planning phase. This is when you already decided that it's feasible and you've already decided on what is it that you want to achieve. Okay. What is it that you want to achieve? So in the planning process, remember you have, I think last semester or the semester before, you have taken up principle of management, right?
Yes,
So
doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Principle of management, you have the 4 basic management functions, right? So the planning part is very similar. So the planning part is where you identify what is your scope. Later we will discuss more on the scope statement and whatnot. The scope, the schedule, the budget. Budget means the money that you need. Resources that you need. Resources can include tangible and intangible resources. Risk, what are the risks that comes with the project, and also what are the expectations of the clients. So that would be represented from the perspective of the quality requirements. The client expectation is represented by the quality requirements that you have to remember. Then when you have already planned, if you look at your principle of management, what is the next stage after planning? Tak ingat lah kan, biasalah ni. So after planning, you organize, right? Then you lead, then you control. And sometimes things are quite similar. In project management is quite similar. So the third one is execution, where you do. You execute your plan. So what is it that you do? You execute your plan. So plan is more like a guideline for you. So it perform as a source of reference for you. So this is where you start to work lah. You start to work. You start to, if you're building something, then you start to build. You start to buy your materials and whatnot. If let's say you're building a house, if you're building a house, then execution part is the part where you start to build. Start to build. You need all the materials, and you need to start to hire people to come and construct your house. That is on the execution part. Then after you have execute, you have to do something called monitoring and control. This is to look at the deviation, whether there is a worrying deviation from what you plan and what is it that you want to achieve. So deviation is where you look at, and monitoring and control. Monitoring, you look at the deviation. Control, you must make sure that everything is on track based on the plan. So if you monitor, you look at the deviation is going off track, then the control part is the part where you you bring it back on track. Okay, and then finally, you closure. Closure is the final stage, whereby you represent or you present the outcome of the project or the project itself to the client. You hand over. So that is closure. So you transfer the ownership. The project is now finished. The house is ready. I transfer back to whomever that is my client. It could be myself. It could be myself. It could be the government. It could be another company. It could be a country. It depends on who actually give you who give you the project. So that's your client. So far so good. Easy, isn't it? Okay, let's look at very fast. Let's look at the next slide. Ini tak bergerak ke slide ni? Okay, we are going to be do this few slides very fast. So let's look at the basic properties of a project. Just now we already discussed that it is a temporary. Something like, for example, if you're working, then that is not a project. You can work on a project, but if you're working for a company or one, that is not a project, because especially when it is permanent, or you work there every day. A project has got to be temporary. Number two, it has got to be unique. It's apart from whatever you do. It's something that you take up. Something that you take up. It has got to be unique. It has got to have specific objective. What is it that you want to achieve? What is it that you want to deliver? It has got to have scope. If it doesn't have scope, then it's very hard for you to manage the project. Scope means dia punya apa nama tu? Bahasa Melayu dia scope. Capaian dia. What is it that you want to cover under the scope? Then you have also resources. So a project requires resources. And also a project will come with risk. And finally, the property of a project is deliverables. What is it that you want to deliver? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 basic properties of a project. So a project can be called a project when it satisfies all these properties. So let's look at the example. You know this building? This building is called the Burj Khalifa. So this building is the world's tallest building, right?
Yeah.
Huh? What is the second tallest building in the world? You don't know, huh?
Don't know, sir.
Second,
Shanghai Tower.
no, second tallest building in the world is in your country, yeah.
Oh, PNB.
Menara apa nama dia tu? 118.
PNB. PNB.
PNB.
Could be there. But that's the second, but nobody remembers the second. People remember only the first. So the tallest is Burj Khalifa. So this is a good example of a project that it shows effective project management. Tallest building in the world. The height is 828 meters. Initiated in 2004, completed in 2010. So the project duration, so the temporary duration is 6 years. So along the 6 years, there's a lot of mini project or other projects that come together to build up this particular building. All right, so there's a lot of risk that come with the project because it's going to be the tallest building in the world, how it is going to react, how the structure would be, how it's going to react to the natural phenomenon, how it's going to react to its possible earthquake and whatnot. All these kind of things have been taken into consideration. So there's a lot of risk. So even before they start the construction of the design of the Burj Khalifa, there's a lot of things that they have to consider. That's how to show you how complex can that project can be. Also, it involves a lot of resources, a lot of resources, millions of tons of steel used, and billions of dollars have been spent so far for that particular project. So some of the things that the challenges that faced by Burj Khalifa. The things that they look into are, first, most important thing is the risk management. So risk management is an important part of a project. You cannot start the project if you don't understand the risk behind the project. So there's a lot of risk, a lot of risk. So later there is a particular topic on risk management, and then we'll discuss more on that. Just to go through it quickly. Then the organization of the project, who answers to who. And you remember your principle of management, you learn your organizational structure, right? So in a project, there are many structures. It is not called organizational structure, it is called project structures. So who reports to whom, who do what, and which party is in charge of what and whatnot. So that is project organization. And then for a project this size, there's a lot of organization going on. Then you have the third one is project scheduling. To schedule the project within stipulated time. I think the initial schedule was for 5 years, but they have extended 1 year. And because when it comes to such a big project, there are a lot of challenges and whatnot. Then also communication. Between the builders, between the architect, between the suppliers. So all this, it's rather very much complex. Right? So Burj Khalifa is a major milestone in the construction industry. Okay. Why effective project management is such a challenge nowadays? Many reasons. Many reasons. If you look at the first one is complexity. Modern buildings or modern projects, modern technology has made project become very sophisticated, very complex and whatnot. It requires cross-functional teams. Not only builders, but also managers, also architects, a range of workers, designers and whatnot. So to manage, it's going to be very much complex. So the complexity of project management has gone very high in terms of the level of the degree of complexity have gone very high. For example, the construction of Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, involved more than 30,000 workers and over 100 countries. From over 100 countries means that the workers are from 100 over countries and require sophisticated project management techniques to manage the complex construction process. You imagine managing 30,000 people. So of course there is this one. The highest authority will be the project manager. So this project manager have got to not to say micromanaging the 30,000, but the 30,000 is somehow rather affecting his work. So it's not easy. Of course, there are simple projects like your individual assignment. That is a very simple project. So in terms of complexity, it's very least complex. Then the second one will be uncertainty. Projects are often subject to uncertainty and risk, which can make effective project management a challenge. Uncertainty can arise from various sources, such as changes in scope, budget, schedule, external factors like political and economic instability. Example, the construction of Panama Canal. Kalau you don't know, you have to Google it. Face significant uncertainty due to the challenging terrain, unpredictable weather, and financial difficulties. So they built this canal and just to shorten the ships trip from the Atlantic Sea to the to the other sea. I can't remember what the other sea is. So you from America to the rest of the world. So they constructed this Panama Canal, terusan Panama. So it involved digging. A lot of people died because at that time there was an outbreak of malaria for that project. A lot of people died while constructing. Of course, modern days project, the casualty is not that high, but those days in 1970s and whatnot, the casualties are quite high. Also remember, before the 2018 election, the government announced one big project that is a high-speed train from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur. Remember that? Then when the government changed, so the next government decided to halt or stop altogether that particular project. So imagine that you are running the project and whatnot. So project nowadays, there are uncertainty. That is a political uncertainty. So when you change government and whatnot, so big project, you have got to, you have to face up to that needs. That's why sometimes major projects are signed at the beginning of the reign of the new government. So when the government at the end of their reign, they should not sign big projects and whatnot, because there is a possibility if they lose the election and whatnot, and then there could be a repercussion of maybe not going through with the project. So we have seen that in Malaysia many times. Then we have globalization. So we have that example also. Just now, Burj Khalifa, you have workers from all over the world, and you get materials from all over the world. So you, like for example, the Burj of Khalifa, they want to have a certain kind of tile, a certain kind of decoration from certain places in certain countries in the world and whatnot. So they have this option. So the project becomes more complex because of the requirement of the client. And globalization allows for us to get supplies, workers, and whatnot from many parts of the world. Okay, there is an example of the Boeing 787. There is an airplane, an aircraft. When they start this project of developing this or constructing or developing this particular airplane, the project involved a global team of more than 12,000 people from over 30 countries. And it required effective communication and collaboration across different cultures and time zones. Even then, even companies like Boeing also recently have problem when it comes to their new product called the 737 MAX. They have to call ground the airplane because of the two similar type of crash that happened somewhere in a few years back. Even though you have delivered your project, it doesn't mean that you are done. So in terms of warranty and whatnot, so those are the things that you have to also keep in mind. Then of course the next one would be the resource constraint. Because resource is finite, means that it is limited, scarce. You have certain budget, so you have to be able to buy the right things at the right price. Or you have to get workers. That's why when you look at Burj Khalifa, Burj Khalifa is built by those people from South Asia, from India, from Bangladesh, from Nepal, from Bhutan. So these are the people that applied for jobs over there, and they are the one that built. Even Qatar World Cup, the stadiums are built not by Qataris, by foreign workers and whatnot. So that's a challenge itself to manage the complexity of the foreign workers. Even when you have the Qatar World Cup, there's a lot of issues when it comes to the well-being of the workers, how the workers have been treated. They are the builders and they are not treated like human and whatnot. So a lot of human rights groups have a lot of say about your project, and so it sometimes it could trigger a court action to halt the project. Yeah? So that is also something that you have to think about. Even in Malaysia nowadays, if you take up foreign workers, you have to be able to treat them well, at par with your local workers. So that's also a challenge nowadays. Okay, let's look at the example of the iPhone. How many of you own the iPhone? Many of you own the iPhone. So when they want to start off, iPhone is a project. It's a project. It's a yearly project by Apple. So every year they have the project team that is in charge of developing the iPhone for that particular year. So this year the project is for iPhone 15 lah. Okay. This one you can read yourself on the iPhone. So we're done. The first part we're done. Any questions so far? So this all you read yourself, project development, with regards to the iPhone project development. That is a good example. You can read through. Any question before we go to the second part?
Oh, Doctor.
Oh, okay, good. So physical, virtual class is always like that, no question. If in the physical class, I would simply just pick one of you or two of you to answer question. But since virtual is very hard not to do. Never mind. So let's go to the second part, which is project constraints. So constraint, the literal definition is limitation. Because a project deals with finite. Finite means benda yang ada limit. Scarce resources and whatnot. So some of the constraints that are faced by project managers or by projects. The first one, of course, is time constraint. When you take up a project, there is a period that you have to follow through. For example, if the owners or your client wants to build the Burj of Khalifa within 5 years, that will be your time constraint. Whatever it is that you plan, it has got to be settled and you have to deliver at the end of the 5th year. And many of the mega projects, they have underestimated the time constraint and whatnot. And it's a common thing that your success of a project not only look at the building itself, it looks at how well you deliver the building in terms of its quality, when you deliver it, and according to specs or not according to spec. All these are the what we call the performance of the project. How we assess the performance of the project. So time is one of the major constraint. Nobody with your client would like to wait. Even if you're building your house, your first house or whatnot, when you buy your first house and developer said it's still being built, there is a time that they have given you a promise that said that it will deliver by a certain time. So a project manager have got to work within the time constraint. Second one is, of course, the cost constraint. Cost constraint is you have pre-agreed the deal, you have pre-agreed the price. So when you take up a project, it means, okay, I will deliver you what you want within a certain price. And this could be a challenge as well, because when you look at especially nowadays, if let's say your developer, few years back, you buy a house or you bought a house a few years back, when it is just at the initial stage of construction. So when inflation hits, the developer, the project manager, is faced with the challenge of increasing materials price. So it's going to be a challenge for them to deliver to you with that, because you have already agreed on the price. Now, there are two situations here. One situation is, for example, if your house that you have built, you have what do you call? You have bought a house and it has been promised to you that you will sell. It depends on the terms and condition of the contract that you sign with the developer. Normally, the developer has taken into consideration within the price that they are unable to deliver to you within that stipulated time. What they did, what the smart developer would do, they already put the cost inside the price of the house. So therefore, the government or the ruling in Malaysia is, if you late in terms of handing over the project, you have to pay certain interest that the client is facing, or what the client is accumulating from the banks. It all depends on but a smart project manager would have considered that they would not be able to deliver on time. Therefore, they have put in the considerations into the price that when you pay for your house. So that's cost constraint. The second, the next one is the scope constraint. So we must build, or we must complete the project within, and we must achieve certain objective and certain specification. So the best word to use is specification. That includes features, functionality, and quality standard. So that scope constraint, good example is the example just now. We talk about the inflation. So when inflation hits, so they have promised that they will use certain materials and whatnot, and then they have to deliver upon those materials. But of course, knowing some of the developers, they tend to change the materials to cheaper ones and whatnot, because they cannot cope with the cost, the rising cost of materials due to the inflation and the high inflation. So scope constraint is actually there to ensure that you deliver what you have promised. So that's how you look at it. You have to deliver what you have promised to the client. So that is scope constraint. Okay, later we will discuss in depth on how to develop a proper project scope. Okay, now let's look at an example, London Olympics. Take example, all you can read later. Okay, you can read that and you can relate to the discussion that we had just now. Okay, next, we are going to talk about the importance of a project. The main important, or the philosophy behind the importance of project management is actually project management provides you a structured way of doing things, a structured and very organized way of doing things. Be it from the beginning, in the middle, and throughout until you hand over the project. So project management gives you that. It gives you it doesn't give you, it actually highlight, or the work is based on structured hierarchy, structured processes. So you have to do A first, then B, then C, then D. Process A, process B, process C. You can only do process D when process B and process C has been completed. So critical path method. So those are the things that you will learn later. But the main thing about the importance of project management is it provides you structure, proper structure. Okay, so project management helps you to achieve your objective, what you have set out to achieve. What you set out to achieve is based on the deliverables. What is it you want to deliver to the client? Number two, it helps you in terms of managing your resources to ensure that the resource constraint is managed properly. Number three, it also identify the risks that are associated with the project, and therefore you are able to better manage the risk. Four, it also allow you for better communication. Once you have structured way of doing things, you communicate better. You know who is in charge of what and how to get things done. Because a project, it involves a lot of teams. You look at Burj Khalifa or the World Cup, there's a lot of teams that have to work together and they have to communicate well. So project management allows that, enhances the ability of communication between teams and departments. It also allows good collaboration between departments, similar like communication. And then it provides clarity. Everybody understand what they need to do. What are their parts? 30,000 people with individual goals that ultimately serve the major goals. So project management provides that clarity. Okay, same. Some of the case study you can read yourself. Next, we are going to talk about project management fields. What are the areas? Okay, now the examples that I've given you just now, there are two major examples. One, I gave you the Burj Khalifa, right? So Burj Khalifa is a construction project. Yeah, so in terms of the area is construction. The other one, what did I give you? Anyone? Anyone?
Apple.
Development of Apple. So what's that? What area is that? That is product development. Okay, product development. There's another one that I gave you just now. What is it? Tak dengar tu. Apa dia? Okay, denda lah semua kena ketuk ketampi lah. Walaupun saya tak nampak. Boleh buat tak?
Boleh.
Boleh buat, betul dapat exercise sikit, puasa-puasa ni kurang sikit kalori. There's another one just now.
Suara scanner.
Okay, itu construction juga. There's another one. In terms of the area field, we have construction just now. The other one product development, yang iPhone. You tengah ketuk ketampi ke? Some of you might not even know what is ketuk ketampi. You pun tak tahu apa, separuh tu mesti tak tahu apa tu ketuk ketampi. Anyway, so what's the other one, the other area? Cepat, siapa dapat saya bagi satu markah. Cepat. Ada satu saya bagi tadi.
World Cup.
Siapa nama tu?
Nabil.
Apa? Nama apa?
Nabil Nukman.
Nombor ID apa? AP
AP 210040.
210.
210040.
Dapat satu markah. Markah. Okey, nanti dulu. Nabil.
Ya.
World Cup betul, tapi apa area dia? Apa field dia? What is the field? Kalau tadi Burj Khalifa, we talk about construction. iPhone, we talk about product development. So World Cup ni apa? What kind of project is that?
London Olympic.
Dah jawab dah tadi tu. Apa World Cup? Qatar.
Event management.
Yes, good. Siapa tu?
Tivia.
Tivia. Good, Tivia. That is event management. So event management is also a type of project. It's also a type of project. So there's a lot. As long as it satisfies the criteria just now and it has got all the properties of a project, then we have got to just tailor it to certain fields. So just now we talk about construction, we talk about product development, we talk about event management. So there are many. As long as they satisfy the project properties and also the characteristic of a project, temporary, and all those things that we have discussed earlier. So some others, like information technology, is also an area of project management. For example, you want to develop a software project that is tasked to produce a software, an application, for example. So this falls under information technology. Then we have next one is we have healthcare. Then we have event management, we already discussed. Okay. So in conclusion, project management is essential for the successful completion of project across different fields, including construction, information technology, healthcare, and event management. Not limited to that, product development as well, as long as it satisfies the project properties. Okay. Any questions so far?
Tak ada, Doktor.
Okay.
Tak ada, Doktor.
Okay, we'll take a maybe a 10-minute break, then we'll come back at 4:30. Is it possible?
Alright, Doktor.
Yes,
10
Sure.
minit break. 4:30 we'll come back. 4:35 lah, nak pergi semayang siap. 4:35 masuk balik. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Ada dah semua?
Ada, Doctor.
Okay. Now let's talk about how we define a project success. So definitely when we talk about success, the traditional view of success is that when you are able to deliver the project to your client in accordance with the spec, in accordance with the quality, in accordance with the time, within the stipulated time. So this is considered as a success lah, as a success for that particular project. But apart from the traditional way of looking at how do you classify a project as a successful project, there are other ways of looking into whether a project is successful. No? So there are different ways of looking in it. Now the first one, okay, the traditional one we have already just now that I said. Second one, we call it the stakeholder satisfaction model. So this model focuses on the satisfaction of stakeholders involved in the project, including the customers, employees, suppliers, and other parties. Success is measured by the level of stakeholder satisfaction with the project outcome. So whether your particular project is successful or not, it depends on the satisfaction of the stakeholders, those that are involved with the project, especially your client. Okay, so how do you gather such information? So normally at the end of the project, there would be a session, or it could be sessions, or it could be a session, or it could be a survey that is conducted in order to understand or to capture the data in terms of the satisfaction of the various stakeholders. So the mode is capturing the satisfaction of each of the stakeholders. Then you can use the aggregate value, or you can use certain types of statistical method to determine the level of satisfaction. So that's the first one. The first one is called the stakeholder satisfaction model. It's very straightforward, and it is the most similar and closely similar to the traditional model of looking at how successful is a particular project. Then you have not so mainstream or not so direct. It's called the social impact model. This particular model considers the social impact of the project, including the effects on communities, cultures, and societies as a whole. Success is measured by the positive social outcomes of the project. For example, if your project, you're building a school, or you're building a community center and whatnot. So how does your project impact the social well-being of the people that are involved with the project, or your clients, or the people at your community, or your country, or your district, your state, your school. So how does your project impact? For example, if you develop a particular app to help the B40, for example, if you develop an app for this, nowadays we are talking about Maino Rahma, that Rahma, this Rahma, and whatnot, to help this B40 group. So how successful is your project is not based on when you deliver the project, or how much you spend on the project, how effective fashion that you manage in terms of the project, but it is involved closely with how satisfied, or what are the benefits that you bring about to the society as a whole. Right. So how do we capture that? How do we capture the impact of your project towards the society? Again, you can use the statistic model of capturing the perception of satisfaction of the society, or you can look at the data after you have delivered the project, whether there are some increase in the well-being of the society or decrease crime, for example, when you deliver your project and whatnot, you reduce the juvenile crimes. So these are all the indicators of a successful socially impact project. So when you look at a project, you must ask yourself this question, whether your project have any social impact or not. And most of the projects, especially when it comes to construction or information technology and whatnot, it is a it is not a must, but it is some sort of an alignment between, if you do something that are good for the society and whatnot, your project serve the society in a way, and you are able to garner profit as well at the same time. So the alignment is there. So when you develop any project at all, you have to think about the social impact of your project. So your project might be very unsuccessful in terms of the returns, the returns in terms of returns on investment or return on capital. It might not be successful there, but it could be very, very much successful if we look at it from the perspective of the social impact model. Right? So a project that did not do well in other areas, it might you might use this model. So most of the government projects is supposed to be based on the society impact that it brought forward. Okay. So if you receive any project from the government, what you have to think about the society that the project serves. Okay? Even roads, if you're building roads and whatnot. So you have to think about that. Then we have the next one. We call it the environmental impact model. This model of success considers the environmental impact of the project, including the effects on natural resources, ecosystem, and biodiversity. Success is measured by a positive environmental outcome of the project. For example, your project, as in Singapore or in dense populated countries, they tend to have gardens, rooftop gardens. So when they build houses or they build apartments, they build high-rise buildings and whatnot, they incorporate the environment into it. So it offset the carbon footprint of the building by planting trees on their rooftops and whatnot, or by reducing the use of aircon, because the availability of the trees could cool down the building and whatnot. So this is also a good example of a project can have both meaning in terms of success, successfully completed and delivered to the client, but at the same time it's also environmentally friendly. So this is also a particular perspective that you can look at when you deliver, when you set out to take up a project. So a project that has got a very good social impact, very good environmental impact. So these are the kind of projects that that are. So if you're bidding for a project, or not, if you incorporate all this kind of success perspective, then it will increase your chances of getting that particular project if you're bidding for any project. All right. So the next one, we call it something similar. We call it sustainable development model. This model of success considers the long-term sustainability of the project, including economic, social, and environmental factors. Success is measured by the ability of the project to meet present needs without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Yeah, if you're constructing buildings and whatnot, you think about how the building will be able to recycle, whether the building has got certain system that they uses less energy, and whether even the building itself can power itself So these are all about sustainable development, development that sustain the present need as well as the future needs. So it's almost similar like the environmental model, if you look at it. Okay, so the point of having this discussion is, if you don't take up this class, you wouldn't know that projects are being assessed from this perspective. Normally, when you talk about project and project bidding and whatnot, you bid for the project, you build a project, you deliver the project. As long as the project follow through all the quality requirements, the client punya need and the specification, it is considered a successful model. But you can go a step further, or many steps ahead, by incorporating the other types of model as well. So when you're bidding for your project, you can incorporate in your bidding of the social impact model, the environmental impact model, as well as the sustainable development model. Right? Okay, so far. Now let's look at this particular case study with the Burbo Bank offshore wind farm. Located off the coast of Liverpool, United Kingdom, the project was developed by the Danish energy company Dong Energy with the aim of generating renewable energy while minimizing environmental impact on marine life and local communities. The project went through the typical stages of a project life cycle, including initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and also closure. Sama. During the planning stage, the company conducted extensive environmental impact assessment to ensure that the project will not harm the local ecosystem, and consulted with local stakeholders to address any concerns. The wind farm, tahu tak wind farm tu apa? You know what is a wind farm? A wind farm is a way of kincir angin. Dalam bahasa Melayu, call it kincir angin. Dia, nanti you Google lah tengok gambar dia macam mana. Dia macam satu building yang ada propeller, propeller tu akan pusing, angin tiup, propeller tu pusing, and it will generate electricity. So then this electricity is stored in a battery, and the battery can be used to electrify villages, towns and whatnot. So that is the wind farm. So it contribute to the national grid, national electric grid of the country. So that is two. And it is also carbon free. Carbon free mana? For example, in Malaysia, we use a lot of coal. We burn coal in order for us to generate electricity. That is not carbon. It's not environmentally friendly. So in Europe, they are more concerned about the environment and whatnot. So they have this kind of project. So what does the project bring about? It brings about electricity to power over 230,000 homes annually. There's a lot of homes, and reducing carbon dioxide emission by over 300,000 tons per year, which is a lot. The project also created jobs, social impact. Yang tadi itu environmental impact. This one, the project also created jobs and provided economic benefits to the local community. In addition to achieving economic benefit. Okay, the Bobo Bank offshore wind farm also exemplifies the sustainable development model success by considering the social environmental impact of the project. The project was designed to minimize harm to marine life, meaning that it be successful environmentally, and the company worked with local stakeholders won't cover to address any concern. The project also contributes to the transition towards renewable energy, which is sustainable development, and helping to mitigate the effects of climate change and promote more sustainable future. So this particular project is a very good example of a project that has success from all angles. The Bobo Bank offshore wind farm. Okay, then a more specific type of how we measure the success of a particular project. One we call the Generic Project Management Maturity Model, or GPMMM. So the Generic Project Management Maturity Model is a framework that describes the stages of project management maturity and the key practices and capabilities that organization need to develop to progress through the stages. Remember the stages: the initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and also closure. The GPMMM is a high-level model that is not specific to any particular industry or organization and can be adapted to suit the different organization. The generic project management maturity model can be collapsed into 3 stages. The first one is the initial stage, or the ad hoc stage. At this stage, project management practices are ad hoc and inconsistent. There is little or no formal project management methodology. That is the initiation part. And project success is largely dependent on the skill and expertise of individual project managers. So instead of looking at the success at the end, so when we talk about this generic project management maturity model, it looks at the different stages. So different stages have different success way of measuring the success. So in the first initiation phase, you look at how well the project manager is organizing the whole project, looking at the objective, looking at the manpower, looking at the capacity, resources, and whatnot. Then you have the second one, where the second stage, which is we call the repeatable or the defined stage. At this stage, organization have established a basic project management framework and standardized project management processes. You know what to do already. At this stage, the organizing has been up to a level that has become standard. There is a focus on developing and documentizing project management methodologies and project management practices that are consistent across organizations. So the second stage is how to do things in a more standard ways, standard manner. The third one, we call it the manage optimize stage. At this stage, organizations have established a project management office, or PMO, that have all the structures, have all the processes in line. It makes things simpler by people understand what to do, or what exactly to do, and who governs what, and to whom each employee report, and what are the scope of their work. So this is the part where you look at it in terms of how well have you managed in terms of getting things very, very much organized and having a standardized type of output. Okay, so those are the 3 stages that look, instead of the normal success model, looking at the end of the project tenure, or when you hand over the project, this generic project management maturity model looks at the different stages. So it kinds of this model look at the first stage of initiation, and then from the initiation giving out the tasks. Later we will discuss much more on this part. And then at this, when people know exactly what to do, they go to this. When organization reach the second stage already. Second stage means that sekejap ada call masuk ya. Sekarang banyak scammer. Hari-hari dapat phone call scammer. So be careful. Mana tadi? Okay, so the third one, so it's like it's a progress. So the generic model is looking at stages instead of at the end. So the organization, it grows lah. It grows when it takes up the project or any project for that matter. And then it starts to go through the phases and whatnot. So the output of the phases determine the success of how you can call or how you can measure the success of the project. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it for today. Any question? Okay, if there is no question, I would suggest that you go back and you read, especially all the case study will be able to help you understand further. And if let's say you have any questions and whatnot, you can always jot down your question, and next week when we have class, we will start with that session. If you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. Cepat, pukul 5 dah habis.
Okay, Doctor.
Introduction. So just to give you an overview lah of the what is project management, the importance and whatnot. So kalau tak ada soalan, ada apa-apa tak tentang course ni yang you nak tanya lagi? Kelas sementara ni kita akan buat macam ni berterusan. Yang mana tak dapat masuk tu you have to look at the sama je, you tengok recording pun sama je, sebab apa tak banyak interaksi pun daripada student. So kalau besok saya buat kelas pun sama je, cakap benda yang sama je. So siapa yang tak dapat masuk, please watch this recording lah. And then this recording nanti siapa Sofia kalau berat sangat nanti bagi tahu saya size dia berapa. Saya cuba nak masukkan dalam.
Biasanya Teams kalau dia dah habis record, dia terus masuk kat dalam Teams.
Kat mana tu dia orang boleh access
Nanti saya kasih link.
Okay. Okay, saya rasa itu saja. Kalau tak ada apa-apa lagi, kita end. Selamat berbuka puasa, selamat beli jodoh berbuka kepada siapa yang berpuasa lah. Yang tak dapat masuk kelas, don't worry lah. I think for this few weeks ni memang just very much theory je lah. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We'll see you next week. Same time, same platform.
Thank you, Doctor.
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 Sama, Doctor.